Hi everyone and welcome back. Pandemic is extremely popular game. Now I think it's be considered a classic. One of the first cooperative game that just took the game hobby with like a storm and everyone played it. Everyone has joined. We have many iteration legacy game. One of the best experience in board gaming that you can possibly have. And I'm telling you, I'm not a big cooperative kind of guy. Because I found myself to teach game, perhaps because I'm not a good teacher, I still feel like I'm running the game too much for the new players. And I more enjoyed the competitive aspect of board games rather than cooperative. But there are some cooperative games that I found extremely engaging, fascinating as much as pandemic. And so if you're looking for some similar experience, cooperative, with other people at the table, similar to pandemic, here you have 10 games that will replace pandemic for you. And number 10, we have a game that I'm putting there more for the theme than anything else. The vibe is very similar to pandemic. And this is Rescue Polar Bears. In Rescue Polar Bears, you are finding the points, you're studying the climate change, and you're trying to find data points on this Arctic area, and you want to do that before all the ice melt, because the ice melting caused the little polar bears to fall into the water eventually. So you want to study the climate, but at the same time you want to rescue those little polar bears, otherwise you will lose the game. When I say this vibe is similar to pandemic, because you have that action point selection, you do your own stuff, then you have the game that does their own stuff, the ice melt, the bear spreads, very similar to pandemic. But because of the theme, because I think it's refreshing, something that not many people have seen, and number 10, Rescue Polar Bear. If you like the dexterity game, if you like build stuff and at the end of the game see something, we made this because it's a corporate game, Menara can be the game that is for you. In Menara, you cooperatively build buildings, towers, I don't know how you're going to call it, instead of destroying it cooperatively like in the Jenga. Every time you have an option, a simple, a medium, a difficult pillar to put, and then you will place it there. And your goal is to go as high as the level or the mission you decide to do, and you try really your best to make it happen. You see those cheering moments, there's that discussion, like the here, I think you can put it there. No, this is not well balanced, this is too risky. Because if you make a bad move and collapses, you all cooperative lose the game. And this is dexterity game, a cooperative dexterity game, number 9. Number 8, we have also a game that has some pandemic feeling, and this is Freedom 5. In the past, I really enjoyed Defender of the Realms. Freedom 5 is essentially the same game, but with a comic theme based on it. So you go around the board battling bad guys, rescuing bystanders. And when you do that, you try to do cooperatively, going around the bad boss, and you roll dice to hit the boss. And then you have special power that gives you special ability. But all the fun part is really having the asymmetric power between all the different heroes going around the board. Like you really feel the story of the superhero going there, kill this bad guy, going another way, kill that bad guy. We have to rescue these bystanders, this innocent citizen. And so there is really that vibe. It would be definitely a higher game in my collection if it was not so long to play. It's a very long game, so I'm not very often willing to pull it out. But if you're looking for an epic superhero adventure working cooperatively, this game is going to give you a fantastic story to tell and experience to live. Number 8, Freedom 5. On the same similar system, but different theme, we have the Faith of the Fellowship. This is pandemic risking. I didn't want to put any pandemic spin-off like Beria, Fall of Rome, Pandemic Legacy, because their system essentially is very too similar to regional pandemic. Although the Fellowship, the Faith of the Fellowship, is essentially a pandemic game, it doesn't feel like at all. Yes, you have that kind of drawing the card where all the bad guys will spawn, but the things that you do in the game, they really recreate the story of the Lord of the Rings in a way that I don't know if it could have been done better. Yes, the board is busy. Yes, it's a long game. Yes, there's so much to take care of, which sometimes that's for me not a plus in a cooperative game. I don't like the upkeep, but the experience of how the theme is well implemented in the game is mind blowing. And if you are Lord of the Ring fan, definitely it's a cooperative game that you want at least check it out, if not add it immediately to your collection. And this is the face of the fellowship. Between cooperative games, there can be also party games. And I wouldn't put it there because sometimes you don't want to sit very seriously. You want to just have a laugh. And maybe you have a very large group of people that you want to involve together and have a communal experience rather than compete to each other. And this is just one. In just one, you all work together to help a person to guess a word that all of you know except that person. And the way you do is try to write a word that can have some sort of association with that word. And then simultaneously you reveal. If someone in the team has written the same word as someone else, those two words cancel out. That's why the word just one. That's why the title of the game just one. So just one word for the as a hint. So, for example, if the word that needs to be guessed is bank, you may write. Someone may write a teller. I may write branch. You may write account, and also Erica may write account. And so, if Richard and Erica write account, when they reveal it, those things will not be given. So you try to think outside the box, but you don't want to think too much outside the box because you may end up thinking the same thing as well. So someone needs to also give the most obvious hint. So very, very fun, super easy to teach. You play one run, you want to play it again, and people that are around you, they want to join as well. This is number 6, just one. And number 5, we have a corporate game that combines deduction, and this is Bomb Busters. In Bomb Busters, you have different missions, there are different goals that you try to achieve for each mission, but the idea is that you deal a deck of cards that represent the wires of a bomb, and the numbers go from 1 to 12. And you want to deploy those numbers in sequential order. So you shuffle the cards, you see your cards, you don't see the opponents. Obviously, you can share hints and stuff, and so deducing what other people do or what kind of cards they try to, or the order in which they reveal the card from lower to higher can give you a hint how the cards are distributed in each hand and then eventually solve the mission. Very, very addicting. I know it's not for everyone and it's hard to teach because when you have hidden information, this is a hard task, but show open hand and during your first game, just show a round, open hand, and people would immediately pick up. This is number 5, Bomb Busters. We deal with group of people. It's a party game, a mid-size 4 or 5 people game. And what if you are only 2 people at the table and you want to play a cooperative game? Can you do that? Yes, you can. And now we have a number 4, Sky Team. In Sky Team, you are trying to land a plane cooperatively. However, you cannot communicate how to land a plane. What kind of theme is that? Can you imagine a pilot, a co-pilot, they cannot talk during landing? But anyway, how are you going to do that? You're going to do by rolling some personal dice behind your screen and so your partner. And then by one, you're going to deploy the dice on a main board, communal board at the center. The dice have some location to locate a die. You need to follow some rules, and there are some stuff needs to be done in order. And some stuff you have to do it every round. So if I don't do something, perhaps because I don't have enough information about the dice that my partner has. So by doing something else, my partner can infer that, okay, he's not doing what we are supposed to do because maybe he's missing some information. That means this is the number of people he has in his own dice. So I can give him this information by playing perhaps my die first and showing, okay, I do have the lowest number here. Now you can play your higher number there, so on and so forth. Very, very interesting. Many different missions. I think it's a game that really gets better and better if you play with the same person because you start thinking in the same way. But at the same time, when that happens, the game becomes extremely simple, at least in my experience. But definitely a clever design. Number four, Sky Team. And number three, we have a trick taking game. Yes, you heard me. There are trick taking games that are cooperative. And this is the crew of the Fellowship of the Ring. You pick. Essentially, they are very similar. The concept is you play a classic trick taking game, but you have a mission to accomplish. And the mission can be win a specific number of tricks. A player cannot win any tricks. A player needs to win a trick with this number within, things like that. Throughout the game, you cannot clearly communicate what your end is. You can communicate with tokens, but the most important way to communicate is by playing certain cards in certain specific instance. And from that, the players around the table should infer why you're doing this. Or if you're doing this, that means Bob has those specific cards. Really interesting game, so addicting. I remember an afternoon, just we went through half of the campaign of the crew. Very, very beautiful game. Very, very interesting game. Number three, the crew or the Fellowship of the Ring. On the similar vibe, we have Eternal Decks. In Eternal Decks, you have a communal board and you have some goals that you need to awaken and then also suppress. And the goal is to achieve, I think, 4 crystal, 5 crystal. There are different missions, so every winning condition can be different. You start with a very small deck of cards, well, one color, and each player has a different color. And on your turn, you need to play a card in order to fill up rows or columns to then eventually get the crystals or get more cards that will eventually help you to get the crystal. The placement rules are very simple, they're very clear on the board. What is interesting is trying to discuss how to play the card in order. And because your starting deck is very small, you also need to discuss who is going to get the eternal decks. You're going to have more cards coming in that allow you to survive. Because when a player cannot play a card, that's when the game immediately is over. And so you can awaken demigods, but those will give you more restriction for the card placement. I will give you very cool cards, lots of interaction. It's a bear to set up, especially the more advanced scenario. You have lots of decks to deal with. The decks are not very well separated, not very easy to identify. Everything is black. It's beautiful artwork for sure, but everything black and not very easy identifiable. But once you go over that barrier, Eternal decks is a fantastic cooperative experience, very thinking, really engaging. When you are done, you will probably lose at your very first scenarios, but you want to play it again. Very quick, 20, 30 minutes, you shuffle, you do it again. Number two, Eternal Decks. And at number one, we have really what I like about cooperative games, which is discussion, what to do, but also very free flowing and a very easy automa kind of things that interact with you that causes you trouble. And now this is a game that does all this in a very clean and smooth way. And number one, Leviathan Wilds. In Leviathan Wilds, you are collecting crystal on top of this huge creature and you try to rescue them to be because this creature essentially sickened or made evil because of this crystal that kind of virus or parasite. You climb on top, you have attack value, you jump, you have a very interesting concept, the grip concept, which is when your deck runs out, you fall from this leviathan, and the cooperation is so intense because at any time, any given time, during any turn, you can essentially say, "Oh, I'm going to help you by playing this card." Another person, "I'm going to help you play this card." Oh, you can if you drop here, I can play this, and really the cooperation is very, very strong, and the automa in this game is very, very simple. Has also a video game vibe, kind of those old video games that you know where the beast is gonna attack, so you can play around, and when the beasts attack, you already prepare. You maybe have avoid the spot where it's gonna attack, or you already set up yourself to be ready to take the hit and maybe have a less, minimize the negative points that you can get. And once you free the beast from this mushroom, you win the game. Very, very good, fantastic and clever system. And number one, Leviathan Wilds. And what are your cooperative games that I should have put in this list? Please let me know. And please, if you see the hype button, swipe it and press it, because any hype will really help this video to get more views and this channel to grow better. If you made it so far, I want to thank you. Please subscribe, share with your friends. You know the drill. This is not your first YouTube video, am I right? Thank you very much, and see you next time. Ciao.